why YouTube. The video is about why most guys struggle with 20s and 40s, the division of rail yards that a lot of people don't want to go to. I know I don't. I don't like that division. I did it for a while, and that's why I'm able to tell you these things. I did it for some years. I'm finna checking this right quick, guys, and I get to the point of the video. You know, I've seen a lot of companies promoting doing 20s and 40 division of rail yard, paying more if it's 3-footers. I think it's mainly on the company. All right, I checked it now. The box should be good to go, hopefully. I don't know if it rolled yet, but I'll figure it out later, you know what I'm talking about? But anyway, there's some things I'm gonna name some key points on here. If there's more things to the division of 40s and 20s you wanna know about, guys who do it, leave the comments below. Anyway, one problem with 20s and 40s is you have to match the boxes with the chassis. A lot of guys struggle with that because it's so time consuming. Most companies promote that it pays better, and they figure the more legs you do, they call them legs. A leg is when you take a chassis, reposition it somewhere else, or you take a chassis from here, you go somewhere else to get a box put on, then you put together the equipment to make the run. A lot of problem with the 20s and 40s is limited equipment to match up at times, which I'll get to in one minute, but also too, the time consumption part. Let's just say you got to get a mad box with a DCLI chassis, right? The DCLI chassis may be in this yard over here. The chassis may have like show 15 available. You hope you get one. I'll get to that in 1 second. But you get one, but the box you're getting ain't come out their yard, so they got to go to this yard over here, get the chassis, go back over here to this yard to get the boxes on the ground. Now, one other problem a lot of guys struggle with getting the chassis and when getting the box is the time you lose in the process. Don't let it be traffic. Don't let the rail yard you go to gotta be so far away. That's where the problem come in at with a lot of guys. So you go over here, get the chassis, you go over there, get the load, and you hope the chassis is good, you hope the load ain't like buried nowhere, and then you gotta walk the stacks. The stacks is when the box is on the ground, you gotta go find your box, you gotta give the number of counts of where the box is at, so when the crane dude do show up, you tell them how many moves you gotta get to get your box. That right there is time consuming. A lot of guys lose time. A lot of guys can't even make the trip. Some of them 20s and 40s go further than some 53s. Well, actually, they all go all over the place. But sometimes you can't make your trip. Your trip is too long because you lost so much time trying to piece together that run. You got to run a load the next day. So if you run a load the next day, you possibly lose the money from the day before. A lot of guys struggle with that because they don't know how to piece it together. And also too, on the same token, the money you making on that, sometimes it don't compensate for all the leg work you do. That's why a lot of guys struggle doing it, because of the leg work, the time consumption part, and no knowledge of the 20s and 40s. Let's say you piece that stuff together to go down and do a run, you come back, let's say you go somewhere get it unloaded and you come back. Well, the box you bring it back may go, it be on a 20 or a 40. If the box may go to this yard right here, but they don't take the chassis. So now, you gotta go over here, don't let it be a long line. Some of these yards got long lines for lift-offs. You gotta go there, sit in that line, get lifted off, then go get rid of the chassis somewhere else, right? And let's say you got another move lined up after that. Let's say you come in today, you back early enough, you wanna kinda set yourself up, they call it setting yourself up for the next day. So what you do is you go try to drop your box somewhere, take that chassis, you hope you can use the same chassis, but sometimes you can't. So now you gotta go take the box over here, take the chassis over there, go to another rail yard where you got the chassis you could get. Hopefully they got some available, get it, and then go to another rail yard to get your load. Sometimes the loads and the chassis come out the same rail yard, but sometimes they don't. And when they don't, it costs you a lot of time. You lose a lot of time in repositioning, the leg work. A lot of guys can't do it. I'm telling you, I did it for years and it was rough. So with anything, anything you do, it has ups and its downs, it has its, pros and cons. 40s and 20s, you get paid, it depends on how you set up, what you got going on. You get paid for different moves and trying to fix stuff on these chassis and stuff to get them going. But sometimes you don't get paid for that stuff. Sometimes that you do that stuff, they won't even pay you for that. You know what I'm saying? This is a dirty business. But anyway, I'll leave it for another video. So another problem with the 20s and 40s is limited equipment. The equipment you try to get to do your move, like I say, they got contracts with these boxes. The boxes got contracts with the people, the steam lines got contracts with the chassis owners. So if you do a mismount, that's what that is when you got the right box, put it on the wrong chassis and get out. Somebody gonna pay for that. Depends on how you set up, you might be paying for it indirectly. But somebody gonna pay for it. So instead of doing mismount, you wanna make your money for that day. That sounds hard as ever. So you make your mismount, you get your mismount, and you make your money for that day, but it'll cost you. So at the end of the day, you gotta try to piece together a limited amount of equipment with some boxes that this company contracted with. So now you gotta go down there and try to find out what chassis go with what box, and hope they got something left. Now, the problem comes into play is when 4 or 5 guys looking for that same chassis, and they already got 2 that's kinda okay, and y'all gotta race to find the chassis that's good. And then after you find the chassis that's good, you still gotta go wait on Mr. Crane dude. That right there caused a lot of guys to struggle on the 20s and 40s. The downtime you losing just dealing with the 20s and 40s is ridiculous in comparison to the 53s. Don't get me wrong, they both got their problems, but the 20s and 40s, they take so much time to do. To do one run, it takes so much time. I ain't even gonna hear what some of the pay I actually made doing 20s and 40s. I ran regional with them things. And here's another thing too, why guys struggle with 20s and 40s. Maybe this is my own personal thing, but you deal with more 1020s on your tires with the 20s and 40s than you do 53s. Them 20s and 40s, they almost come standard with them 1020s. Don't let that chassis be super old. You hope them tires make the trip. In the summertime, that's when they popping like popcorn. Them 1020s, they wait for their time to shine, baby. When the summertime comes, they're like, okay, my boys, it's time to shine. Pop, popcorn. That's all you gonna see with them freaking 1020s. A lot of guys struggle with 20s and 40s, guys, trying to do the dealing with Mr. Crane dudes. You don't know who Mr. Crane dudes is? They're the guys that lift the box off the ground and put it on your chassis. Now, depending on how that yard is set up and how that yard is going for that day, you can sit there 4 or 5 hours. I've sat 6 hours in the rear yard before, waiting on the Mr. Crane dude to throw a box on me. Why do you think I started, on my videos, I started hounding, hawking, and stalking? If you don't know no better, you can sit in the rear yard all day and don't make a dime. A lot of people don't believe that, especially those with the 20s and 40s. Don't let it be a glitch in a system, or don't let it be one of the rear yards where they got a system where they see you in the computer, but they system glitched that day and they don't even know you're there. They can see your truck physically, but they just ride by you like you ain't even there. You talking people almost want to fight. Tell you, they get a little serious in that yard. A lot of guys can't stomach that. A lot of guys struggle with 20s and 40s because of all the headaches you gotta deal with. I ain't even talking about the expired chassis. Majority of these chassis expired, the inspection stickers expired. The lights is missing on them things. And the winter time trying to get them 20s to slide, because sometimes you can't ride with the heavy load way to the back and you'll get popped for overweight. So you gotta slide it on the rail, and the rails be freaking rusted out. The 20s be like they finna fall apart. It's like they one strong wind from falling apart. So 20s and 40s is a different level. Anybody knowing 20s and 40s, you guys know what I'm talking about. So a lot of guys struggle in that area because they don't know what to do. And it's like you have to know what to do. Because if you don't, you can lose so much time. You can lose it. With the guy who's real skilled in 20s and 40s, he even lose, or she even lose time at times. But guys who don't understand that 40 and 20 game, they lose a lot of time because they don't understand. They don't have a clue what's going on. So 20s and 40s is a rough division of intermodal. That's why most guys struggle in that area. And besides, I was told that it paid better on a couple occasions, but I found out that I was making so much money less because I was losing so much time in all this repositioning, taking a chassis over here, going over to get a box over there. And also, I'm gonna say this one more point, guys, and I'm gonna end the video, of course. A lot of guys don't understand this about 20s and 40s reasons they struggle. Let's say you go somewhere, you get loaded, the box you got is loaded. You get out the rear yard and you take it to a customer. And sometimes they have a round trip. So you get unloaded somewhere. A lot of 24s you get unloaded. Sometimes you can drop a hook, but sometimes you get live unloaded, right? You get unloaded, you gotta find out which yard that box is going back to, because some yards is like full. They don't have enough room for your box, which goes to that yard, because only certain yards, certain boxes go to. Like Meds don't go to every rear yard. OOCL boxes don't go to every yard. Evergreens don't go to every yard. So you gotta find out where that box go back to. Now here's the two dilemmas. One thing is, if you unload it, you find that the box got a hole in it or something, and you know they gonna check it where you drop it off at, guess what? You may have a problem. You get there, they say we can't take this box because it got a hole in it. What if the company you with, or you don't have a drop yard? Now you sitting on a box and you figure out what to do with that trailer, that box, because it got a hole in it. Or you got to figure out, you sat in this long line to get up there for them to tell you we got to refuse your box. Now you got to find out another yard that's close by where you can take that box to. And then once you take it to that yard, you might take it there, drop it off, still take the chassis somewhere else and get rid of it. It's just so much with them 20s and 40s. I can't count the headaches with them things. So a lot of guys struggle in the area of 20s and 40s of containers because of some of these reasons right here. There's plenty more. But you watch my videos, you ain't gonna struggle with them as far as like getting about a lot of jams. But even my videos can get you about a lot of them jams because some of them things they just the invisible hand, I call it. Let alone, I ain't even gonna drop a whole guy. There's so much with 20s and 40s why they struggle with it. I don't even know. Hey, just get out how you live and just make sure you try to make your trip safely and make sure you do the best you can do, because at the end of the day, if you doing 20s and 40s and you need to make your money for that day, you gonna find a way to make it happen. Believe it or not, when you're back against the wall, you're surprised what you come up with. Anyway, that's it for this video, YouTube. So YouTube, hope this video is helpful. Give you a little understand what's going on around here. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.